Okay, today I'm going to talk about a couple of common dietary restrictions, meaning that these are diets or conditions that require, let's say, special techniques or eating patterns. Probably one of the most common ones is called lactose intolerance. Lactose basically is a digestive enzyme that digests, lactase is a digestive enzyme that digests lactose, which is also known as milk sugar. It's the predominant carbohydrate in milk. A lot of people, as they get older, lack lactase. They don't produce enough lactase. So when they drink dairy products that contain lactose, they get various symptoms. About 2/3 of the world stop producing this enzyme after childhood, and that's when they become lactose intolerant. What happens is when you're lactose intolerant, if you consume any dairy food like milk that contains lactose, you get symptoms like bloating, abdominal pain, flatulence, diarrhea. All of these things, gastrointestinal symptoms, in other words, can happen when you're exposed to lactose. But the truth is that even people with lactose intolerance can consume up to 12 grams of lactose per day without showing symptoms. That's about the amount of lactose in an 8-ounce cup of milk. If you drink more than that, you might have symptoms. Of course, there's also milk that contains lactase added to it, which basically breaks down the lactose. Yogurt is a dairy product that also has the lactose already digested, if you call it pre-digested, so you can have that. There's alternatives you can have, like I said, lactose-free milk, any type of fermented dairy products such as yogurt, sour cream. These things, the lactose in those foods are already degraded or broken down through bacterial fermentation. Hard mature cheeses such as Parmesan, Grana Padano, these are all lactose-free. Butter also contains very little lactose. Another common, let's say, food insensitivity is called glucose intolerance. It's based on I'm sorry, did I say glucose? I meant gluten intolerance or sensitivity. Gluten is a protein found in grain products. It's also found in it's in wheat, barley, and rye. And what it does is it gives elasticity and viscosity to baked goods. So they often add it to various baked goods. There's two types of gluten-related disorders that affect 1 to 7% of the people around the world. One of them is called celiac disease, which is an autoimmune disease where when people consume foods with gluten, they have severe intestinal problems. And the other one's called non-celiac gluten sensitivity. That's more controversial because a very small percentage of people actually have that. In most cases, the people that think they have gluten intolerance are actually intolerant to something else called FODMAPs, FODMAPs, which are various types of fermented or fermentable carbohydrates, which can cause problems. These are also, by the way, prebiotics. They actually help your intestinal bacteria if you can handle them. The common symptoms of celiac disease include abdominal pain, diarrhea, and weight loss due to nutrient malabsorption. Other symptoms include skin rashes, anemia, and osteoporosis or thinning of the bones. Non-gluten sensitivity is a non-allergic and non-immune condition. Again, it's caused by some people who might be sensitive to gluten. I don't think there's many of them actually exist. I think it's more rare than most people think. They've developed an entire cottage industry based on gluten-free foods. They're making billions off this, when in fact a lot of these people can handle gluten. They just think they can't. Foods that contain gluten include wheat, barley, rye, bread, pasta, cereal, crackers, baked goods, beer, and that's about it. Gluten-free grains include rice, quinoa, corn, tapioca, amaranth, buckwheat, potatoes, plantain, beans, lentils, or chickpeas. Another type of food restriction, if you can call it that, is vegetarianism. Vegetarianism is a dietary pattern that relies mainly on plant-based foods. It avoids meat, poultry, and fish. There's different types of vegetarian. There's a lacto-vegetarian that they exclude meat, poultry, and fish, but include milk and milk products. This is what the famous bodybuilder Bill Pearl, who won Mr. Universe 4 times, towards the end of his career, he was a lacto-vegetarian, but he still got high-quality protein from eating milk and eggs. He just excluded milk, meat, poultry, and fish. An ovo-vegetarian is a person who excludes meat and poultry, but includes fish. I'm sorry, ovo-vegetarian excludes meat, poultry, and fish, but includes eggs. A lacto-ovo-vegetarian excludes meat, poultry, and fish, but includes milk, milk products, and eggs. Pescatarian excludes meat and poultry, but includes fish, milk, milk products, and eggs. And then you have a semi-vegetarian or flexitarian that occasionally consume meat products, and poultry and fish. Those people have to obviously restrict those foods if they're a vegetarian. Problem with vegetarians, I've talked about in past videos. Since vitamin B12 is found only in animal protein foods, they have to be careful of getting enough B12. They do have vegetarian-based supplements of B12. They have to be careful about iron, which is only, again, the most absorbable form of iron, is found in animal proteins. They also have to be careful about omega-3 fatty acids, zinc, and a couple of other nutrients that are not generally bioavailable that much in fruits and vegetables. Then you have the straight veganism, which is a real strict form of vegetarianism in which all animal and animal-derived protein derived foods are avoided, including anything from fish, honey, beef pollen, casein, whey. You can't have any of that stuff if you're a vegan. It's a lot of it's related. Veganism is related to religious and environmental beliefs, ethical beliefs about not wanting to eat animals. Apparently, it has a couple of health benefits that include, since you're not getting much fat, you will probably lose weight, and you have a low risk of chronic diseases like heart disease, some cancers, and type 2 diabetes. But again, it has the same problems with vegetarianism in that, you might be lacking certain nutrients, which are very important. You have to supplement them. Let's see, what else can I talk about? Keto diets, of course. Keto diets are restricted diets, a high-fat, very low-carbohydrate diet, usually no more than 20 grams of carbohydrates a day, a maximum of 50. It encourages an intake of up to 70% of calories from fat, which a lot of researchers look down on because of the, a lot of it is saturated fat. They say keto diet will promote heart disease. There's no evidence for that whatsoever because saturated fat, it increases low-density lipoprotein, which is not good, but it also increases high-density lipoprotein, which is protective. And also people that who on keto diets who exercise will burn up most of the fat through activity anyway. And when you're on a keto diet, you can't eat any grains, legumes, starchy vegetables, most fruits. What you can eat is protein foods, meat, chicken, fish, eggs, turkey, cheese. You can have fats, nuts, seeds, cream cheese, avocado. You can have non-starchy vegetables, cucumber, tomatoes, leafy greens, onions, broccoli, and moderate amounts of berries. Diabetic diets basically involve low glycemic foods, foods that don't spike blood sugar levels. These are usually high fiber foods like whole grains and legumes, as well as certain lower sugar fruits such as berries, melons, and apples. Then you have the dairy-free, which is lactose-free, excludes all dairy products, including cheese, yogurt, and fermented products, as well as cream and butter. Some people are allergic to the proteins in milk, cow milk. They have to be careful with casein and whey. A lot of people use whey protein supplements to say they get really bloated afterwards. This usually indicates a intolerance to milk proteins. So when that happens, you should eliminate them too. And then you got the typical low carbohydrate diets, which is 100 grams a day of carbohydrates or less. Limits alcohol, refined sugar, and highly processed foods, including sugary drinks, white bread, pasta, rice. You have to limit the amount of starchy vegetables, grains, and legumes. You can emphasize animal proteins, non-starchy vegetables, fruits, seeds, nuts, and other high healthy fat choices. % of adults and 8% of children, and they can lead to life-threatening reactions such as anaphylactic shock, where your blood pressure drops down and you could die. Some of the common allergies, food allergies, include wheat, nuts, including peanuts, tree nuts, almonds, Brazil nuts, walnuts, hazelnuts, cashews. They're more common in children, and 15 to 22% of children outgrow them. A lot of people are allergic to fish and shellfish. Some of the fish contains toxins and parasites. People have shellfish allergies, commonly caused by an intake of shrimp, crabs, lobster, clams, oysters, and mussels. Mussels meaning M-U-S-S-E-L-E, not M-U-S-C-L-E. Eggs, some people have egg allergies. They can react both to the white and the yolk. Some people have allergies to soy protein, so they can't have that. So those are the common food restrictions that you have to be careful of, and that's about all I can say about that. Really, you have to. It's an individual thing. Some people are allergic to some foods, others are not. You have to experiment, and if you are allergic to food, from a bodybuilding standpoint, it can cause things like water retention and bloating, which will not help you get in contest condition. If you want more information about nutrition, exercise science, anti-aging research you can use today, fat loss techniques that really work, ergogenic aids, supplement science, hormonal therapy, women's health and fitness, and many more topics. Nobody covers as many topics as I do in Applied Metabolics. Subscribe today to my Applied Metabolics newsletter, www.appliedmetabolics.com. When you subscribe, I'll send you an invitation to join my private Applied Metabolics Facebook page, where every day I post new information on nutrition, exercise science, and medical topics. I also have an email portal on my Applied Metabolics web page where current subscribers only. I don't accept questions from unsolicited questions. You have to be a subscriber. You can submit short questions to me, and I'll answer them. You're welcome to leave comments under these videos, which I won't answer. I don't have the time. And if you want to have the best friend you'll ever have, go to your local shelter, adopt a dog. Take care.